What's up guys, it's Branden Flash. Today we're here with my Volkswagen ID.4 Pro S rear-wheel drive. And we're going to be installing this heck of a trailer hitch. It's the Draw-Tite 2-inch receiver hitch from eTrailer.com. Let's get to it. So here we have the receiver hitch itself. This is where it's going to be going inside the existing hole on the rear bumper of the ID.4 Pro S. I did print out the instructions here. Looks like pretty basic tools needed. I did pull out some of those here. And let's get to it with starting to remove the rear bumper. Looks like first step, they want us to remove these T25 Torx bits on the underside. You can see those here. Quite a few all along the underside. And let's remove them. So we have 10 of the 12 screws that they say you have to remove out. I'm not actually convinced you need to remove these two. I don't think that's necessary at all. But we do actually have to remove these two here. Those are T10 screws. You'll see those right under here on these little holders. So let's go ahead and remove those next. So it appears these are actually T15 rather than T10, and they're actually plastic screws. So definitely take special precaution to not strip those out and be very careful removing them. So next up, we're going to be pulling back this wheel arch trim. Make sure you remove the screw underneath. That was one of those T25s. We're just going to give it a solid yank, just like that. And we're doing that to reveal these two screws right there. And they say those are T20, but I'm skeptical that they're not going to be T25. Those appear to be T25, but let's just double check. So I just checked the screw size. Turns out I was correct. Those are not T20. They are in fact T25. So let's go ahead and remove those on this side and then move over to the passenger side and do the same. And we're doing the exact same thing here on the passenger side. And on such a new car, those clips are pretty stiff. And next up here, we're gonna be popping these covers off. You wanna use a plastic trim tool, just like that. Carefully pop them off. There's not really a specific way that works the best on these. You just kinda hope for the best, just like that. Looks like we don't need to remove these screws. Those are just holding the taillight in. I think the instructions actually want us to remove the taillights, but that's not necessary. We're just needing to release the clip here. But we'll get to that in just a moment. We are going to be having to take these screws off. Those appear to be the same T25 as on the side of the bumper. Let's remove this one as well. Interesting tidbit, looks like I found the firefighter loop for the high voltage system behind this passenger taillight cover. Next, we're going to be removing these T25 screws on both sides, and then we're actually going to be removing the license plate since there are two screws behind it that we need to access. The license plate is off. We now have another two T25 Torx screws that we're going to be removing. And now it's time to actually remove the plastic bumper cover here. You may want a friend for this. I'm going to be doing it by myself. Definitely a good idea to place something soft down on the ground, whether it be some carpet, a tarp, just whatever, just so you're not scratching the actual bumper cover on the ground. You will definitely scratch up the paint or even just the exposed plastic. Let's get to it. So I definitely thought it wouldn't be the case, but we're now on the driver's side wheel well. Turns out you actually do need to remove these screws here. That's a Torx T25 and down here, because those are actually holding the bumper on. So we're going to do that on both sides. My apologies that I skipped those initially. In order to remove these without removing the wheel, we're going to be using a 1/4 inch ratchet with that T25 bit. And now we're going to be removing the bumper cover. All right, we've got the bumper cover off here. We're gonna be disconnecting the harness right over here. Just like that, press in on that, pull back. So now we're fully released here. That disconnects all the wiring in the entire bumper. You can see the pedestrian speaker right here. You've got your ultrasonic parking sensors. So you've got dead plugs here, probably for other countries. These are your side assist rear radars. And this is the actual structural crash beam. And that's what we're going to be partially removing in order to slide in the trailer hitch. And now it's time to remove these bolts that hold the bumper bar on. We're going to be removing the bolts completely. However, we're not going to be pulling the actual bumper bar off. The instructions say that these are 15mm bolts, but they are not. They are 13mm head bolts. I'm going to be using my impact driver to remove them and then set them aside because we actually have new bolts in the kit here, included with the trailer hitch. So it turns out you don't actually have to remove all of the bumper bar bolts. You actually leave this upper one in place that I removed prematurely since we're not replacing that one. As you can see, we have 3 bolts on this side and 3 bolts on this side, which is why they only give you 6 replacement bolts, but there are 7 bolts total. So let's go ahead and put that one back and then go ahead and put the trailer hitch on. And now that we have the hitch bar installed, you can see that here, we're going to pull out our torque wrench and we're going to torque them to 20 foot-pounds or 27 Newton meters. And pro tip of the day, don't forget to re-plug in your bumper harness. I just had to pull the bumper partially again in order to plug that in after I got in and had all my parking warnings and realized exactly the error that I made. So definitely remember to plug in your bumper harness as you're putting the bumper back on. And now that we've got the trailer hitch installed, it's time to reverse all the steps that we took to remove the bumper and put all those fasteners back. And just like that, we have a 2-inch receiver hitch installed on our Volkswagen ID.4 Pro S. If you enjoy content like this, please be sure to hit the like button and hit that subscribe button for future content. This is my own ID.4 and I plan to make a ton of content with it. I'll actually be installing some splash guards next. That will be a separate video, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time.